You might be wondering, what is a higher order component? A higher order component is a component that receives another component as props. Another question you might ask is, when do we use the higher order component pattern? It is usually used when we want to pass a reusable logic to multiple components, like in our case, an authentication logic to protect routes from unauthorized users. So we'll create a new component with authenticator. This component will receive a component as props. The component will navigate to the root of our application if logged in is false, or return the component passed in as props. To temporarily manage logged in state, we would create a Boolean state using useStateHook and initialize to false. Next, we redirect users to the index route if logged in is false, or return the passed in component. To achieve this, we make use of the use effect to watch for changes on our logged in state in order to redirect if logged in is false. And we make use of the use navigate hook from React Router DOM to navigate to the root of our application if logged in is false. We get use navigate from React Router DOM, and here we'll have our condition if logged in is false and the current location is not equal to the root of our application, so return navigate, and then we'll update our dependency array. Next, we return component. In order to see the effect of our authenticator, we'll wrap our app component with the authenticator HOC. And we'll export the app with authenticator component. Next, we ensure our app is running and try to visit the dashboard. I'll run the app, navigate to the route, try to visit the dashboard. We notice we can no longer access the dashboard because we are not logged in and have not added a login functionality. You might also notice a flicker when navigating to protected routes. The reason being that the protected page loads before the redirection caused by the use effect, which runs when the component is mounted and when the state changes. We can improve this functionality by creating a custom hook to manage the login state. Let's create a use logged in hook that will return logged in, that is the login state, logout, a function that sets login to false and redirects to the login page, login, a function that sets logged in to true and redirects to dashboard. I've added a new folder hooks in our source directory and added a file use login.ts to hold our hook. So I'll start by defining the hook. This hook will be responsible for managing the logged in state. I could just copy the logged in state created in our authenticator here and import the missing hook. Next, I'll create our functions. Here we set logged in to true and navigate. To navigate, we also bring in our use navigate hook. So we'll navigate to dashboard on successful login. Add another function. We should set our logged in state to false and navigate to the root of our application. Finally, we'll return logged in, login, and log out. And of course, we'll export our hook. Let's update our authenticator to use the new custom hook. And with the structure, the login, log out, and logged in. Great job! Our app can now hold the logged in state. How do we make this state available in the child components without passing them as prop drilling? That is, passing this state down through different components till it gets to the component where it is needed. This causes problems with refactoring and knowing where a particular data comes from or where it is actually needed. This is where we use the provider pattern. This pattern helps to provide data directly to the child component where it is required. To use the provider pattern, we create a context in React using the create context from React. Since we are using TypeScript, we will properly type this context by creating a type and passing the type as generic to the create context function. This type should contain the different values the context will have that would need to be shared within different child components. So for one, we have the logged in, which is a boolean. Next, we have the login, which is a function that returns void. I'll have the logout, which has same signature. We can now pass this as generic. And finally, we can set an initial value. So for logged in to to be false, log in to be a function, returns no, log out to be a function, returns. You can import React, export default logged in context. Let's update the with authenticator component with the context provider. The provider makes available the context value to its children. We'll navigate to the authenticator, and here bring a logged in context dot provider and wrap our component with it. Finally, we pass the value, which would be the value from our use logged in hook. We can now remove the use effect because it's no longer needed since we have our custom hook. And then if we navigate to the application, we hit on dashboard, we notice that the flickering has stopped. Next, we create another custom hook that will make the value of the context available to its children. It is basically a function that returns React use context, passing in the actual context. Then we import React, and then we export our hook. In the layout component, we will need to display the navigation when a user is logged in. So we make use of the use logged in context hook to retrieve values for logged in and log out. So we call the use logged in hook, and it is structure out logged in and log out. Next, to conditionally render the navigation, finally we call the logout function on the list item that contains the logout link. Also, in the login page, we would need the login function from the context to add login functionality to the login page. So let's update that. So we'll call our use logged in context hook and destructure the login function. And update the onClick function for our button. Nice. Let's go ahead to ensure that our app is working as expected. So navigate to the browser. We see that the navigations are no longer visible because the user is not logged in. So once I click the login button, it navigates to the dashboard on successful login, and we have our navigation bars here. So we can switch to accounts, right? And we can go back to dashboard and we can log out. Assuming our app sends out emails to users to view protected resources, for example, in our case, account, wouldn't it be nice to log in and access the accounts directly? Let's implement something to handle this feature. To achieve this, we're going to store the intended route in our navigation state, and upon login, redirect users to the stored state. This approach helps to mitigate against URL redirection attacks, as the redirection mechanism or approach is not visible to the user either via URL or local storage. So I'll navigate to the authenticator. There, I'll add a state to our navigate and add a value redirect, path name, and in our login function we are going to make use of the location hook. So we'll have const location equal to use location from React Router DOM, and here we'll create a constant redirect that should be equal to location.state.redirect or dashboard, and then we'll replace this static value by the dynamic value. There you have it. So let's go ahead and test once more. So we'll navigate to the browser and we'll click on our call to action button on our email template. So it takes us correctly to login since we're not logged in. And once we log in, navigates us to the accounts page. Nice. Next, let's try logging out and log in. Good. Takes us to dashboard as expected. Thanks for staying tuned to this video. Do like, share, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to get notified when we post new videos. Thank you.